Hello and welcome to Your Health Moment podcast. I'm your host, Max Sturdivant, better known as Dr. Fitness. On this podcast, I want to give you the tools to start, continue, and never give up on your journey towards health. Now, whether you struggle with your weight, eating the right food, hydration, exercise, or even time management, you're in the right place, and I'm here for you. Now, let's dive right into this episode. This episode is brought to you by McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Centers. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Health Moment. I'm your host, Dr. Fitness, and as always, we're going to discuss all things holistic health and wellness. So it's going to be no different than any other time that we do this. So today I have the pleasure of interviewing Cari Vann, and we're going to discuss the shortfalls of the most common exercise programs and learn about Cari's complete wellness or well body method. And now to date, Cari has helped many people transform their lives and go from living full of pain and fear to being empowered with lifelong tools for pain relief, injury prevention, and improved health and wellness. So over a span of 26 years, Cari has developed numerous ways to help people to exercise safely. And Cari loved to move when she was at a young age, but struggled with pain. So Cari is going to share some of that struggle and challenge with us because this is when she was motivated to find a solution. I appreciate you joining us, Cari. Why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here too. So yeah, you summed it up. I've been doing this stuff for quite some time, and my personal journey is not separate from my professional journey. And I was born a natural mover. I just love to move. My mom put me in a creative movement class at age 4. And then I got involved eventually in dance. But my feet weren't really made to dance. And so like by my sophomore year in college, my feet had given out, and I had found that I was missing 2 joints in my feet. And so that was hard because that was something that I had grown to really love. It was an outlet. And I just became really proactive at that point about wanting to find solutions to find that freedom of movement in different ways. And that's what I did through education and trainings and of course, using myself along the way.
That's it's fascinating. Dance is one of those amazing crafts that people do to not only express themselves, but to maintain really great health and fitness. So did you continue? Did you take, because, if you're missing a bone in your foot, I would think some dance would be difficult, maybe like ballet and jazz. Were there other dances that you found that you could still participate and do?
Unfortunately, no. And that was really hard. I was a dance minor in college at the time, right? And so, I had to stop. My feet mechanically definitely couldn't handle the ballet. They couldn't handle the modern. They couldn't handle anything. And I get it now. They needed to be supported. So I had to be in what was called a UCBL to eliminate the pain, which is like kind of an orthotic plus, which is a little bit higher up, kind of almost like a brace in a sense. So I went into basically wearing hiking boots with a UCBL to protect my feet. So dancing was not an option.
Wow. Wow. I could only imagine when it's your passion having to give it up because of, something as important as your feet not wanting to cooperate with you. So what did you do instead?
So I pursued education. I got degrees in exercise physiology, and then I just wanted to know, like, I wanted to know this stuff. I wanted to learn. I ended up, being able to work in different medical centers all over, University of Maryland, University of Pittsburgh, Duke Medical Center. But I studied movement, like tons of different movement modalities. Right. And so I kind of focused in on like the areas of like, how can we freely move our bodies and do it safely and protect our joints. And, that was kind of like my focus. And, along the way, I did not use exercise, and eating as well in the right manner. So I did push through pain. I did accrue many injuries through repetitive movement, right? I injured almost every part of my body, right? And I'm really hard headed. And it really took, basically a point in my life where I had to have two car wrecks kind of back to back because God knows that I am, stubborn. He got my attention. And, it was really, I think at that point that, I began to develop my unexercising approach. I basically began to do things completely opposite than what I had been doing before.
Interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, for the first time, I actually began to listen to my own body. I stopped telling it what to do. I stopped pushing through the pain, and I began to really understand at a different level here how valuable the mind-body connection is. And through that, I began to focus on building a strong foundation for my body in a very different way than I had before. And this is really where I began to develop all the pillars for pain-free movement that I now teach. And basically, it was like over the next, 15 to 17 years that I would fit all these pieces together and be able to help, people along the way.
Interesting. What were the commonalities um, that people shared with you that made it easy to transfer what the knowledge you've gained from your body to helping someone to do the same thing with theirs? What was the connection? Was there
it was interesting because, I was younger at the time. I was probably, early 30s, 20s, and I was attracting a lot of people into my world, ironically enough, that had a past physical challenge or an injury or surgery, or they just didn't want to hurt themselves while exercising. So what a gift. And, I didn't really consider what I was going through at the time with all the pain to be a gift, but it turned out to be a gift, right? Because I could share. And that's how I learned. I learned by doing. And, it's kind of, we talk about the science of things, but when we're working with people, there's an art involved to that as well, right?
Oh my God, that's so true. And it's kind of neat because as you're talking, I'm thinking, wow, one of the things that you, besides the pain that you all had in common, that you people that gravitated to you, but also the fear, because I mean, pain and fear seem to be together in situations when, we experience pain. There's also a like, oh my God, fear kind of reaction. And there are two ways. It's like, oh my God, what's going on? Or, oh my God, I got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's creating this horrible result. So being an art, I think dealing with people's emotions like fear is definitely an art.
Yeah.
So is that when you say art, is that what you mean by art? Or do you have something else in mind when you say that?
I think it definitely is, including emotions. We can't top the fact that we're human beings. We're whole, right? It's more than just the physical sense, but that physical outlet actually is what can help our emotions. And so I know for me that to be true. So when we're dealing with somebody with fear, walking through your own fear is step one, right? And it's like, okay. And so, knowing that there are so many things and so many ways that we can still find freedom and movement in our bodies in a safe way, no matter what pain we're dealing with or going through. Empowering people definitely is an art. I think it's also an intuitive sense about what's going on. And that kind of, I believe we attract people into our world that are meant to work with us. There's so many things out there, right? And so intuitively knowing through working with the body and like, okay, yeah, this can be helpful, or, no, this isn't going to be helpful. And yeah. So I think it's kind of all those things combined.
I can imagine, because even starting for someone in pain, approaching them with any type of movement that they think is going to aggravate the pain is like a non-starter.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not doing that. How do you get around that? How have you helped them to navigate that?
There's so many things involved. When I say pain-free movement, I just want to say that pain is the last red flag indicator of our body basically screaming, hello, getting our attention. But you don't necessarily have to be in pain to be doing what I call pain-free movement. There's crossover between what we need to do to prevent injury or pain and actually what we need to do when we're having discomfort and pain. And, it boils down to, I'm sorry, it's kind of like,
no, that's fantastic. Yeah, please.
Yeah. It's just like getting back to that unexercising approach is you connecting to your own body, understanding your own body, getting to know your own body. And that requires working against the grain of pushing and actually slowing down. And so I think that's where it's at. We've got to sometimes take some steps back. I know I did, and learn to kind of and go there first. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, and understanding the process, because the fact that you've had to deal with it, I mean, it does move you way ahead in having an understanding of what other people may be facing or feeling.
Oh yeah.
So, wow, I think it's a really great gift. Like you were saying, I think it's a really great gift that you're giving people. Very cool. And so this whole system is what now you created, and it's I'm sorry, I'm messing up the name of the well body method.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's the complete well body method.
The complete well body method. And so do you deliver it one-on-one? Have you expanded? Are you teaching other people to do the well body method? I mean, from a clinician standpoint, or are you primarily working with patients still?
So I am working with people everywhere, and that is why I'm so excited, because I basically have poured like all of my 26 years into the program, and I'm just really passionate about it because it's really more about a way of life for me, right? And I've just combined basically all the multiple areas of my expertise into a well-rounded experience for people. And so I always say it's kind of like you get 5 practitioners in one. And, we're really working on just developing those habits for pain-free movement into our lives while elevating our well-being. And I'm so excited that I've been able to make it convenient for people to do that and, help them along the way. And so that's really what it's about.
For our listeners, could you share just one of the pain-free modalities that you have helped people with?
Sure. You mean like one of the pillars, like for pain-free movement, what I would consider a pillar?
Thank you. Yes. One of the pillars of the complete well body program, the complete well body method.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the pillars, now I'll tell you, I believe we need all of them, but one of them is fascia release. And for those of you who don't know what fascia is, we can kind of consider it like a spider web like substance that covers our whole interior body, all of our muscles and things. And we can form a lot of different adhesions there based on many things, based on inactivity, based on overactivity based on past surgeries or injuries or whatever it might be. But I'm, super excited to tell people there's so many tools that we can use to help empower our own body and maintain our own fascias. Like, for example, you may go get a massage or some type of body work, deep tissue, rolfing, whatever it is, right? And you may feel better after doing that. Yeah, I know. I don't know if you have experienced that. Right? Some
I
of you
do.
may have. Yeah, me too. Right. And the good news is that you can do plenty of things on your own to help work your own fascia, because that's really what's going on when you're getting a massage or deep body work. And I know I can't get body work every day or even every week, right? But I can work my own fascia, and I'm talking about the spine, the neck, the shoulders, the legs, the hips, the feet, all of those things. And at this point in my life, I'm pretty particular about the type of fascia products that I use. But I'll tell you one really simple one. Yeah.
Yes, please. We're like, tell us more.
Yeah. So definitely the simple one that you guys have probably heard of. And if you haven't, you can see one in the background there of my picture. It's a foam roller, right? It's that cylinder object that we can roll on and do things. And personally, I think there are, like, for me at this point, like 5 things I would use the foam roller for. But that's an example of a tool to work our fascia. Now, do I just use the foam roller? No. I use all kinds of different types of balls, different sizes, different densities that I know work on my own body, that I feel comfortable sharing with other people. And that's what I do. And I have been blessed to learn about the fascia along the way, through my own issues, actually starting with even feet related issues. And so, yeah. Yamana Zaki is a woman that she used to have a studio in New York City, and I had flown out there to work with her in person, just to address the foot fascia issue. And so I love all of her products. So if you're listening, you can go to yamanabodyrolling.com. There's all for fascia related stuff. But yeah, in a nutshell, it's just like, we need different things for different parts of our body. And there's a lot that goes into that component. We're working on using our breathing, slowing down. That calms our nervous system. What a great outlet just for anxiety, right? If we're stressed out. I know, no, some of you may never experience stress, right? Nobody, right? I know I
do. Me too.
So, like,
there's no escaping stress, in my opinion.
Right. But there are tools we can use.
Doing like a planter. Now, I think, like you were talking about feet, and I think where people would really notice fascia is usually their feet. I think people are more aware of it when it comes to plantar fasciitis than almost anything else.
Yeah.
And so, have you found that to be true, or is that not true?
It's
from your
amazing
experience.
Yeah, it's amazing you mentioned that. It's like so many people. I've worked with so many people with plantar fasciitis. I've had it chronically, 100%. That's an area. Fascia, plantar fascia. It's inflammation of our fascia, right? So yeah, I love being able to. Being able to get a grip on my own plantar fasciitis was game changing. It's like, yeah, we don't have to go there anymore. There are things we can do to prevent that from happening. So yeah, a lot of people, because listen, when the feet are down, that really is a wake up. Now I can't walk, I can't do, it's huge.
Yeah, it's a foundation for everything. And even if it's creating a situation where you're limping, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of other challenges structurally.
100%.
So yeah, getting to the root, I think,
that's
is
right.
really important. And it's great because I never think of it the way you're explaining, how important it is to deal with the fascia issues. And I think if a lot of people dealt with them in advance, there'd be a lot of injuries they wouldn't have. So to your point, it's a great way to reduce injuries and definitely a great way to even resolve some injuries. So, wow. Yeah, that's a really good pillar.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be life-changing.
Good
It's like
stuff.
think about it like a basic foot fascia routine as our foot fitness, right? Let's just like redefine fitness there for a second because that's important. What, 3 to 5 minutes of your
Oh my
day is
God,
just
yes.
about, making it a habit. That's all it boils down to. Just like our whatever type of exercise we're doing. It's the same thing with our fascia.
Nice. So that's like a huge takeaway from this. So this one piece is like enough to make it very valuable for anyone listening. What you said in that one piece about fascia, the one pillar. So if one pillar is that profound, I can only imagine how wonderful the other pillars are. How can people get access to your complete well body method?
Sure. So you can reach me by going to the website at movementcraft.com, the word movement and the word craft.com.
And great. And if you miss that, don't worry. If you go to the show notes, all the information is in the show notes of how to get in touch with Cari, and Cari's bio is there, and any other information. Because Cari, you've written a book, Cari?
Not yet.
But it's on the way.
That's right. That's right.
I can imagine. It is definitely on the way. Because just from your history, it's just you've worked in the medical field. You have a background in movement and dance. Where do you see yourself going next with your career and with what you're doing now with the complete well body method? What's next in store for you? What can we look forward to next seeing from you?
That is a good question. I mean, my goal is to help as many people as I can and get the word out about the method and just be able to reach those people that I can. And then I think it's endless from there, right? I know we're always growing and that's how I feel. And so evolving. And so I don't have the answer, but I know I'm always being called in that direction.
See, that's fantastic. Is there one final thought that you would like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah. So you don't have to suffer. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to be afraid to exercise. There are so many things that you can do to help your body. And so just know that there are solutions, and that's what I'll leave you with.
Oh, fantastic. So there's hope. So the takeaway is whatever you're going through, there is hope. And it's just a matter of finding the right clinician for you.
Yeah.
Is that what I heard you say?
I think it's right on.
Oh, yeah. So don't give up. Don't give up and don't stop trying to feel better. And I think, Cari, this method is going to really help a lot of people. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here too.
Well, it has been my pleasure. So Cari, thanks for joining us today. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in for another episode of Your Health Moment. I look forward to talking with you again next week. Take care and bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Your Health Moment podcast. If you enjoyed what you've heard, you can visit our website, yourhealthmoment.com, for past episodes, show notes, and all the resources that we mentioned on the show. Feel free to connect with me on social media too. Send me a DM and let me know what your thoughts are about the episodes that you've been listening to. And don't be shy about requesting any other show topics that you might like to explore.